This is the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
This is a bit horrifying because without Shaun, Nathan and I
Yep.
are speaking to the Fremantle Dockers ruckman, Shaun Darcy.
So prepare yourself to actually learn about football.
Finally.
Let's quickly talk about your love of Entourage. Was that your biggest show? Was that the show you most connected to?
I reckon I've watched it 5-6 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, love it. Just easy watch. You turn it on, you just laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
You can watch about.
And do you relate? Because, you know, you're on the big bucks, you've got an agent, you've got your mates that hang around like Turtle.
Who's your Entourage?
Entourage.
Yeah, who's your Entourage?
Who's your Turtle? Who's your E?
Yeah.
I reckon Tom Hart, Jamie Hess would be Turtle. Tom Hart would probably be Johnny Drama.
You're Vince, of course.
You got to be Vince.
You're Vince. Have we got an Ari Gold in the mix?
Well, it has to be my manager, but he's done. He's completely opposite to Ari Gold. We'll call him Ari.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, we looked at some of your renovations just then, and the roof is off the
The
house.
roof is off, so yeah, they're getting started. It's a great time to have no roof when
Yes, middle of winter.
Really,
That is always the way. It's like, the roof's off. Check the forecast.
It's raining.
Torrential downpours are forecast. Yeah.
It's always great, but they're starting and it's on its way, so that's the main thing.
There's something exciting about building a house from the ground up, and Nat, I was asking about what he's got planned for the kitchen, if there's something special going in there, and to me, there is something that people have that just show that they're doing really well in life, and Shaun's getting it. Shaun, tell everyone what's happening.
It's like you can put soda water in your tap.
Oh, yeah.
Hot water,
fizzy
boiling
water
yeah.
water
We're
tap.
at Channel 7.
They're like, yeah, do you want that? I was like, that's sick.
We were at Channel 7 the other day filming a commercial, and in the just outside of the makeup room, they had that tap, and no one knew. So I went and got a glass of water and went, "Oh my God, this is sparkling." Everyone goes, "No, it's not." Even people that work there didn't know it was sparkling. And then you should have seen the lineup, mate. It's like a lineup at the Schweppes factory. It's ridiculous.
So, yeah, when I need a soda or I'm coming to your house, I just come around with it. Can I have a glass of water, please? knock, knock, knock. Off to Essendon this week.
Essendon, yep.
Big game.
Big game. MCG.
This is a generic football question. Nathan just zoned out. See that?
Didn't even look.
Come back to me when we want some relief.
MCG. They're going to come out firing. They had a bad couple of weeks, so the media's been all over them in Melbourne. So it'd be a really tough game.
To go.
When's the? Do you still get a thrill at being at the MCG, or is it a workplace now?
No, I still love it.
Yeah, so you
How
still
many games
feel
have
it?
you played there this year?
This year, twice, I think.
Yeah.
So,
It's crazy that the Perth teams don't get a look in there, isn't it?
I think my first 3 years I didn't play there once.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Year 3, halfway through it, when you first game, and I was like, it's still so cool. Like the stadiums that go so high, it's crazy.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking here at
massive.
Optus, the change rooms and the facilities are like top level, And I'm guessing they are all around. But who's got the crappiest?
Probably the Gabba.
Really?
Yeah, right.
It's really old.
Hopefully but 2032 you won't still be playing then, will you? Because
see
for
how we go.
the Olympics they'll do it up, surely.
Yeah, they were meant to do it up, and I don't think it came through a couple of years ago, but... Yeah, it's small. You have to duck when you run out.
Oh.
Things like that.
Everybody. Melbourne, 14 degrees on Sunday, so
It's not going to be warm.
it's not great, is it?
No.
Do you go the long sleeves?
Never, no.
Who does? Do many people go the long
Michael
sleeves?
Frederick,
Yeah.
James Aish, Brandon Walker are the big three. They're always...
Do you have a crack at them about it?
No, they can
is what
run
it is.
fast, so
Yeah,
I
okay.
can't, so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
let them. But they're always, even when it's sunny, do you reckon it's cold enough? I was like, boys, it's like 20 degrees out there. Surely we're not
You
doing
should
it.
be getting his hand.
So-
So do you think your upbringing down on that, like you're Colac, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have
Camden,
prepared you for cold weather, surely.
Oh, it's freezing down there,
Yeah.
and we never wore long sleeves down there, so maybe skins at training, but that was about it.
I wonder when the first person's going to be brave enough to wear a skivvy.
Yeah, the turtleneck
They're
footy jumper.
They're very in right now. It's very GQ.
I mean, it's Melbourne as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to do it anywhere, you do it in
do it in
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah.
Hey, when your head got knocked the other day, I was like, I was watching that. I was like, geez, that's scary.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but I was fine. So
Yeah.
I should have kept my feet and not slipped over.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it's
that
a
was-
long way for you to go down when you fall, isn't it?
It is.
The ground's a long way away.
It's probably longer than
They
you.
should put a parachute on there, to be honest.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
We'll see if we can squeeze one Gen Setter in now. Oh, the phone's...
Oh, Harry, don't. It's riddled with anxiety right now. We are talking about how Gen Z do not like answering phone calls. They don't like phone calls
making them.
coming out of surprising areas. Riddles them with anxiety, so we thought, let's force some Gen Zs to talk to us on the phone.
Is it Esha?
It's Isha.
Hi, Isha.
Isha, are you a Gen Zer? How old are you?
I'm 23. I'm going to be 24 soon.
You're
Okay,
right
sweetheart.
in the zone.
Are, you
Okay.
okay? Are we okay right now? How are you going? You dealing okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I feel like I'm aging, but otherwise I'm doing good.
Now, we've made you call us, and apparently your generation hate to make a phone call. How are you dealing with that?
Honestly, as soon as you said that, the first thing I did was call you guys because I'm the opposite. I love a good phone call.
Oh, okay. Does it
I
feel like
like
you're doing
this.
something retro?
Retro.
I mean, I don't have one of those turn dial phones, but I guess so.
Okay, so how do you feel about? Are you a big FaceTimer over a caller? What are you number one in your communication with your friends?
So I think if I'm ready, if I look presentable, then I
Yes.
don't mind a FaceTime, but
Yeah.
don't call me first thing in the morning.
Sure.
But I actually love a phone call because I feel really special when my friends call me.
It is nice, isn't it? Especially when you can
Yeah.
kick back on the bed, your
Yeah.
feet, your toes pointed in the air, and just talk about boy bands and things.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Of
I
course.
feel like on text, the tone always gets messed up. So
Sure.
it's always best over a call.
Oh, you're
That's-
right. And you know
yeah.
what? Everyone's just waiting to cancel someone or
It's
have a
true.
go at someone these days.
Aisha, do you
Exactly.
voice memo at all?
I actually vlog with my friends. It sounds really weird,
Oh.
but like if we've got a story to tell, we'll send a video message.
Oh.
So kind of voice memoing,
Yes,
but with our face as well.
With your faces.
Can
with your
I
beautiful
talk to
faces.
you?
Yeah.
Can I talk to you in all of your Gen Z experience? What's
Yeah.
the usage of emojis nowadays in texts? Is that aligned with an old person going a little bit crazy on, like happy faces and fist pumps and peaches?
I mean, I always use emojis, even in my work emails. I'll always finish off with a smiley face.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on the emoji you're using.
Okay.
So there's
What-
certain emojis I would associate with a bit of the older gen.
What's the giveaway?
I think a thumbs up. I get that from my dad.
Yes. Okay, so what's the alternative to a thumbs up?
Just a sentence. Like, I'm telling my dad I got
Just
a
a
new job
sentence.
and you're sending me a thumbs up.
Yeah, well,
Oh, just
no,
as,
he
you
thinks
require a
it's-
sentence.
So you want him just to write good?
Yeah, I want him to hype me up a little bit.
Hey,
Maybe
Aisha-
put a love heart.
Yeah. Can I ask another generation-related question? Where are you parting your hair at the moment?
Oh, down the middle.
Straight down the middle?
Always.
Yeah, always?
Yeah, straight down the
and what
middle,
about your
yeah.
socks? Where are your socks?
They
My socks are. I've got crew socks on at the moment.
yeah.
I've
I've got 3/4. I've got what was it 3/4 or 1/4 cut crew socks. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're one of us, basically.
thank you. Oh, it's just only a couple of years.
What about
older.
if you don't wear socks at all? Where do you feel about that?
No, that's
Oh my God, that is the biggest red flag, especially when they wear like jeans that aren't right down to the ankles.
It's exactly
Yeah.
what I'm wearing
Yeah.
right now.
Would you, if a man was
Aisha,
Yeah,
exactly what I'm wearing right
if
now.
that was on a man, would you straight away think he's a predator?
I think so. I'd be like, please don't talk to me.
Because you're a predator. You have
Lucky
been
I'm not a
very.
man.
No, this is good to learn. It's good to learn. Let's go to Holly in Wandy. Hi, Holly.
Hi, how are you?
Great, Holly.
As
so
a Gen Zer, how
Yeah.
are you going talking on the phone?
you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't talk a lot though, so all of my friends, even my husband, I text, but my mum is the person I call every single day, at least 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah, she's asked you to stop, by the way.
Yeah.
It's too much.
I speak to my mum a few times. My mum and dad a few times a day, and then every night before I go to bed, I ring them and say I love them, and then I go to
Oh,
sleep.
see, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you get anxiety
exactly.
at all if someone is to call you, you don't know the number and you don't know what's on the other side of that phone call?
Would you answer that?
No, I wouldn't. No, not at all.
Yeah. And how are your friends?
If it's important, they'll leave a voice message,
Yeah,
Yes.
and then I'll call them back.
Yeah.
How are
agreed.
your friends? Are they texters or talkers?
Oh, only texters.
Only
Group chats,
texters.
lot, but
Yeah.
only text, never call.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Because your generation are just so in front of the camera. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like you're so like. Amy, our producer, her daughter was posing in front of the camera
Yeah.
the other day. No one told her how, and
She
she looked
just
like
did
something out of a girl band.
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
pose
yeah.
that she had, like so you
Looked like a Maya
You're
catalogue.
also
It was
camera
amazing.
ready, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's amazing.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean podcast.
We're talking about cover-ups.
Yeah, well, they're saying that the Seine is safe to swim in, and come on, like I'm not there. but I know it's not.
You can see the Grogans going past the swimmers when you're watching the tally.
It does look like someone needs to give it a good douse of toilet duck.
Yes, that's true.
Unbelievable. And chuck in some of those bleach pills because the bowl's stained.
So we're talking about cover-ups.
Yeah, I reckon it'll come out of the woodwork a little bit later on, and we'll know because all the athletes that swam in there will be dead.
Yes, so there's 2 lots of triathletes swam in it yesterday, so we'll know in a day or two, won't we?
We will.
Or Ben, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hey,
Ben.
Benny.
Not your real name. Good work for being anonymous. Okay, tell us, what did you cover up?
So I used to work at a grain storage, and I was in charge of storing 3 different commodities of grain, all the high quality stuff.
Yep.
And I accidentally commingled the whole lot, so I mixed them.
So you
Yes.
turned it into a mixed grain?
Yep. Which basically means the entire lot drops down to the lowest grade possible.
Yeah, so it's the same sort of grain,
yes.
but the different grades of it.
Oh,
yeah.
so now it's
Just working out the
contaminated.
Helgas.
Now
Yeah.
it's all just the low grain. So
Yeah.
what happened?
I sealed the storage up. I told them it was all good, and then about 6 months later, when they were about to crack it open, I timed it down to the week, and I quit.
Ben, that's ingenious.
So Ben, in discovering the mixed grain, would they have known it was you?
There's a good possibility. There was about 4 other people that were working on site, and in theory, it could have been any one of us,
Sure.
but there was a very high chance it would have been me.
The guy that just quit, yeah.
Wow. Ben, did you stay in the agricultural game?
Don't answer
Maybe.
that, Ben.
Okay.
Ben, is it obvious when you look at the grain, is there a big difference between the best quality and the lowest quality?
When you're testing it, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's the kind of thing. But you can't visually inspect it. But they would have known. They would have been trying to take it out, and they would have been like, man, this stuff is just going on forever. Why is it not finishing yet? They realised, that's like half of the other stack that we're trying to not take out.
So what is
Ben.
the cost associated with your blunder?
Give or take, it was probably about 40,000 a tonne, and I took it from $400 a tonne down to $100 a tonne. So I would guesstimate somewhere like
It's a lot.
20, 200,000, maybe 400,000.
Yeah.
Oh
Are
my
you on the
God.
run? What is it? Is Big Grain after you? Like, that is insane.
What a
No
great
one's come
cover-up.
after me yet, so.
Yeah, wow.
Keep a low
Jeez,
profile.
Ben. Good
Thanks,
one.
Ben.
His names are really Ben everybody.
It's not Ben. Lynn's in Freo. Hello.
Hello. How
Hi,
are you?
Okay,
Lynn.
Lynn.
We're doing all right, Lynn.
All right. Have you been involved in a cover-up, Lynn?
Yeah, so we were called into a meeting one morning, and the director of WA told us it was an international company that they were closing our division.
Oh.
But I actually whistle blew on them, and it went and hit, obviously went and hit the media. And what ended up happening is that they got sprung for underpaying staff internationally, and it was actually millions that they ended up having to pay. And they haven't been able to close the division.
Oh.
So you were the reason why that was all uncovered.
Hey, Lynn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you take it to them beforehand about the money situation, and then they just decided to ignore it, and therefore you went further?
Yeah, absolutely. So I called him.
Yep.
At the meeting, I went for the jugular of the director. He was in tears, and I went, well, you're going to tell everybody why you're trying to sell it and trying to get rid of this place? I said, we all know that you owe at least Australia-wide $20 million. I don't know how much you owe internationally because there's investigations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I blew it out in that meeting. And they said, well, don't say anything to everybody else that isn't in the meeting. And, of course, we went straight out and whistle blew, and it hit the media.
Oh,
Wow.
Then
Ben, you're a hero.
What was the fallout?
Well, the fallout is Australia-wide there was probably about 40 million of back pay that they had to pay.
Yeah.
Internationally, there's still investigations and they're still back paying people, and they couldn't close the division, and they tried to sell our department because it was on land that was valued at about
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I don't know, 80 mil.
Yeah, they wanted to cash in.
Apartments.
What kind of whistle do you blow?
What was that?
It's a good, yeah.
Oh,
Do you
what
have
sort of
like
whistle? Like a umpire's whistle?
Umpire whistles, one on your fingers.
A dog whistle.
Green whistle.
The green whistle.
Green whistle, yeah, that's a good one.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Well, it wasn't the night we were looking for when we watched the Australian men's basketball
I
team
kind of
get to
feel like
action
it's-
against Canada.
I feel like it's your fault, Sean. I don't know why.
Well, when I saw some of the names of the Canadian players when they took the court last night, I was like, oh my God, we're in all sorts of strife because there was a bunch of NBA stars getting out there to play. Andrew Gaze actually was commentating the game. He was there live. Gazy, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, it was a good performance by our boys, but like you mentioned, Canada, they got 10 NBA players, including Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who was last season's MVP runner-up in the NBA. So it was a credible performance, but unfortunately we weren't able to get over the line.
Gazy, can we blame the cardboard beds and the vegan food in the village?
No, I don't think so, because actually I don't even know, because they have a satellite village here in Lille. We're not actually in Paris.
Yeah. Oh, right.
The basketball's in Lille, but they do have a village, and I believe the cardboard beds are consistent with Paris, but I'm not sure about the food arrangements. But some of those things get blown a bit out of proportion. I spoke to Paddy Mills, and he said, listen, that you can always get a little better, but as far as Olympic villages go, they all have their own room. It seemed like that it was more than acceptable.
But you know what?
About the air conditioning has been an issue over the journey too. I don't know if that's blown
Australia,
out.
The main village, they took
their own aircon.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the US team, because Sean told me they stay on a yacht. I think it should be everyone do the same thing, or you know what I mean?
Find your own accommodation, Airbnbs.
So it's all equal. So everybody gets a boat.
Yeah, so everyone sleeps on the same thing. You know what I mean?
Would that be fair, Gazy?
I think it's each to their own. The United States, I don't believe they're on I think they're in hotels, and they're actually, because the games, the basketball here for the preliminary rounds is in Lille. One thing they are doing is they're not staying here in Lille. They're actually still staying in Paris, and they get the train. They shut down the train network, and they all get on the train, and it's about a 45-minute on a semi-bullet train type arrangement, and they come here. So we don't see a whole bunch of them here other than the games, because they're still staying in Paris.
So they're like they're FIFOing to the basketball.
I have not heard that at all.
Yeah.
No, I thought they were staying on a cruise ship, although the surfers are staying on a cruise ship, which I believe over in Tahiti at the moment. That's interesting.
Well, that's interesting, because they can just jump off the side and practice. It's not bad.
Hey, Gazy, on the game last night, I was you were buoyed probably in the first half when we were able to score at will, and then second half it just dried off. Obviously, Canada turned up the defence. So some of the defensive players that they had are the top defensive players in the NBA as well. But most of these games come down to being able to hit an outside shot. We weren't able to do that.
No, we were, like you said, in the first half. I think Paddy Mills had a tough time of it, but they, like you mentioned, and it's a very, very good observation, astute observation, in that they are an elite level defensive team. Lou Dort in particular, but then they have great size in their guards.
Yeah.
Sometimes they play what we'd call small ball, where they're playing four guards, but their guards actually have some decent size about them. And with Paddy's reputation, they were locked into him. But we missed some shots that we're normally going to make. Defensively, we weren't terrible, but in that last quarter, we started the quarter poorly, and scoring was probably our biggest problem, because defensively, with these guns that Canada have, I think holding them into the low 90s is not a bad effort.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a unique situation, isn't it? Because we see the Australian swim team and all them train together the whole time and stuff like this. It's not the same for the Boomers and stuff, They're sort of put together and then expected to gel like a team that's been playing for years, but they haven't.
Yeah, it is equal across the board, though.
I know, but it's a very strange situation,
What I do like, Nathan, if you've seen some of the videos behind the scenes, is when they get their opportunity, all these guys, to play for the Boomers, they feel it, man. There's some emotional guys who, got the call up to play.
Well, it's playing for your country, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many times did you do it, Gazy? What did you go to, 5?
I was good enough. I started in 84, and my last was our home Olympics in Sydney in 2000. So, I had the good fortune and the privilege to go to 5 of them.
Gazy, what a champion.
Were you partnered at the whole time? You didn't get a chance to put your hand into the bucket of condoms, did you?
No, but given that the statistics I'm hearing about the usage rate, and I know when I was there, I wasn't getting any.
You were bringing the average down.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form. Nathan, Nat and Shaun and the podcast.
Have you heard of Tony Martin?
Tony Martin. Yes, I do remember him.
The great cyclist.
He's amazing.
He's
an American actor, isn't he?
performing at a seasonal brewing company. He joins us now. Good morning, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Good morning is not the cyclist from Germany.
Well, then we got to cancel this interview.
I think also if
When
you,
he used to be on the Tour de France, I know nothing about sports or cycling, but I would just have it on constantly in the background because you'd always hear the announcer at some point go, Tony Martin is incredible.
It's just really good for the self-esteem, isn't it?
Hey, Tony, because there's another Nathan. I'm Nathan Morris. There's another Nathan Morris, and he's one of the singers from Boys to Men.
Wow.
We had Andy Lee interview us one day, and then he had Googled my net worth beforehand, and he thought that I was worth millions of dollars. And then we went, there, something's not right here.
Well, the problem is with Tony Martin is such a common name. There's we have branches everywhere. There was a lead singer of Black Sabbath at one point.
Oh, cool.
Of course, the Reverend Bob on E Street here in Australia was Tony Martin.
Yeah.
But
Really?
the worst one is in England. If you say the name Tony Martin, it means this farmer who shot 2 people to death who broke into his farmhouse.
Tony.
And then he became really famous because everyone was like, oh, you should be allowed to do that. And I think he ran for Parliament or something.
It's got.
We've got it
We've got it up. We're just having a
Tony
look at
Martin
the moment.
says he has no regrets about shooting burglar dead. What goes around comes around.
Remember, I went to England and I didn't know anything about this guy. I'd never heard about him. And I went to England in 2013 and I get to the passport control, the first person I'm seeing when I arrive in England.
Yep.
And I give this woman my passport. She goes, oh, Tony Martin, I hope you're not planning to shoot anyone dead in your farmhouse.
And you're like, well, that's actually the box I tick for a reason of travel.
With no context, that is.
I'm going, what a strange way to greet someone.
You sort of hang around to wait and hear how they greet the next person.
Exactly.
Is this like a code? Am I meant to respond, the avocados are very fresh this weekend? And then I get led into a secret door and get onto a special train.
Hey, Tony, you're just talking about having the Tour de France on in the background. A lot of people would have done that over the journey as well. But with the Olympics on at the minute, are you steering
you'd be
clear
bang
of that?
up for it, wouldn't you?
Because I'm a nerd, I know nothing about sport. I didn't even realise that they were on till yesterday.
Really?
I have a blindness to all sports reporting, so I just brought up Twitter, and there was a picture of a nude blue man and a lot of dancing children. And I'm going, what's this? And then it was like, the Olympics are on. And I'm going, I don't remember this event from when I was a kid.
Gee, sports changed.
Yes, Papa Smurf has let himself go.
That's hilarious.
Very weird.
Hey, Tony, we've been talking about you. We love the fact how disconnected you are. You're not on the grid, really.
I mean, that's an example. Yeah.
So I've been wanting to, explore the games quite easily from my home where I have a smart TV hanging on the wall, and my smart TV no longer is a smart TV. It won't accept Wi-Fi.
It had a lobotomy.
Do you have a smart TV? Because they're all smart right now. And if you do you use its features?
No, I have a Samsung television from 2008 because of the very nerdish reason that I watch a lot of old movies on Blu-ray, these restored films from the Criterion collection. And they look better on an old analog TV. Try telling this to anyone who visits your house. Just think you're mad.
We talk about physical media, we haven't had that for a long time.
DVD, so they weren't that. So they're super thin now. What's the thickness? We'll be able to tell a TV's age by its thickness.
Well, the thing is, people go, can you still get DVD? You can get DVDs, but there's now Blu-rays and 4K Ultra Blu-rays. And the industry is being kept alive by an international network of nerds who want these incredible restored special editions with all these documentaries and booklets and stuff. It's absolute nerd stuff. And yet, guys will come to my house and go, why are you into all this? Who wants to sit down and watch some 3-hour film? When's the cricket on? I'm going, you're going to be watching that for 5 days. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and as Nathan said, if you're playing a sport where a seagull can stand next to you, it's not really a sport.
That's my rule with cricket. Hey, Tony, do you have Netflix account or anything like that? Nothing?
I have Netflix. I have a couple of the streaming services. I don't have a phone. I think I'm the last person in the country without a phone.
So how do we watch it on your analog TV? What's our setup?
Oh, you bring it up through Apple TV.
He's got an Apple TV,
everything
everyone.
channels into that, and you can bring up YouTube and everything there. It's designed for idiots. It's like a picture menu.
So are you talking to us from a landline right now?
I am. How clear is it?
It's bloody great, Tony.
Is it at least a cordless phone?
It is a cordless phone, so I've made that leap.
Well done.
I just didn't want you standing a metre away from the wall.
Yeah, I've got to be very careful. I have a friend who's an absolute conspiracy theorist, and whenever I sort of meet him for lunch, he's so impressed that I don't have a phone. He goes, "Mate, they won't be able to track you. You're completely firewalled. You're off the grid."
They won't be able to track you. Who are they?
Yeah, well, that's your wife.
And you would...
Generally, for most people, that's your wife.
I don't know who he's talking about. The Blue Man Group? I don't know.
Yeah.
Tony, I guess a disappointment from our end. We normally, these days, we can FaceTime people when we're
right.
having these conversations, so we don't get to see your beautiful mug, but you're right.
But it's all right. We've got the murderer up on the screen.
That's all we've got. So we've got Tony Martin from the UK.
Bangy, bangy farmer.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Kate Campbell.
Kate, another golden night for the Aussies.
Oh, wasn't it great?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much expected, though. We knew that they were going to get that done, right?
Yeah, but they were really pushed. Like, the Americans were a lot closer than I would have liked. And then, of course, Arnie dove in the water and blew them all away and got her hand on the wall first. So, I was not happy with how stressed I had to be in the middle, but I'm very happy with the result.
Kate, this includes you. How are we doing this? What are we doing to our females here in this country that is creating such a dominance in the pool? It's mathematically impossible, I think, maybe.
For the women to be doing so incredibly well. And the men, it's not that the men aren't doing well.
No, it's just that the women are bionic and the men are human.
So what's the difference? How's this happening?
I know. It seems to be at the moment that if you are from Australia and you want to win an Olympic gold medal, you have to have a uterus.
Of course you do.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing.
That is the trend that's emerging at the moment.
Watch, you saying that right now, watch the amount that now they're going to make artificial uteruses for men and tampons will be free, all of it.
But you know what? Guys have a whole second week of the games to start lifting it. But it is just phenomenal. Athletes, and especially our women, are just absolutely killing it. And you know what? I'm not entirely sure why. I have many, many theories, but I'm just going to settle with our girls are absolute legends.
Have you ever cut your arm, Kate, to see if there's blood? Like, and not wires?
Molten metal.
Also, don't worry, though. They do go through extensive drug testing, and I am assured that it's urine that comes out and not oil. So I can confirm that they're human and not bionic.
Yeah, we have to check. The fellas have got a legit chance tonight, though, because Cam McAvoy, he could win this, couldn't he, at the age of 32?
He absolutely could. So, yes, the men could get on the board thanks to Cameron McAvoy in the splash and dash, the 50 metres freestyle. If he wins it, he will be the first Australian man to ever win an Olympic gold medal in the men's 50 metres freestyle. So there is history in the making on the line for Cam McAvoy. He's really changed up his approach to swimming in the past couple of years. He was going to give the sport away after Tokyo, and then has pretty much revolutionised the way that you train for 50 metres freestyle. And I would say that he has started a new era in sprint freestyle training that is going to get picked up all over the world. And he's been so generous with his knowledge sharing, but not too generous, we're hoping, because we're hoping that he can get his hand on the wall first, and he's kept a few secrets for himself. And then once he's won, he can go and share it with everyone.
As a recently retired 50 freestyler yourself, is there any chance that you're like, maybe if I adopt the Cameron McAvoy method, you could be back for the next games, Kate?
Because remember, you're a female, so you do it better.
You know what? I do have the advantage of having a uterus.
You do.
That's true.
I mean, I haven't checked, but I'm taking your word for it.
I mean, how different
I can assure you I do have one.
How different is Cam's training? Because everybody's talking about it, but as somebody that trained for the same event, is it... Because what I heard is he swims heaps less, and you think that can't be right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So he has cut his volume by about 90%, which is incredible. It's just not something that you hear of.
Can we do that at work?
Usually swimming, cutting workload by 90%. No, cutting swimming volume. He's up to gym sessions. He's up to like many other things. So, and I think he's put on something like 8 kilos of muscle.
He's done a lot of calisthenics, a lot of rock climbing to get, really good body connection and strength right out at the end of your fingertips and toes. He's really worked closely with the best sports minds at the Queensland Academy of Sport. And yeah, I think that what is so wonderful about this is that he has been able to try a bunch of different things. He's been able to consult with industry leaders, and they've seemed to have found a formula that is working really, really well. He's equal fastest qualifier for the final. He was the fastest man coming in, the top speed on paper. He's a world champion already. So, yeah, it is going to be very, very
But
exciting.
it's a mad race. If you miss the start by a fraction of a second, it's over, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You make one little tiny mistake, and actually that's what Cam has really focused in on. He's a real detail-oriented guy. I think he studied fine particle physics, so he has a really big brain that can delve down into really small niche concepts that my head can't wrap around. And so he's really drilled down into every aspect of the 50 metres freestyle from the start, from your hand positioning. Do you have to move your hand 2 centimetres to the left or to the right? When you're kicking, which foot is elevated when which arm is down? He's really got super technical. Wow. You can tell he's just got his full nerd on. But you know what? It's working.
Yeah.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Our very special friend Maggie Dent joins us now. She's got a new book out and she's threatening us. This is her last.
Can't be true now.
Done. It's called Help Me, Help My Teens, supporting our teens through tough times. Maggie Dent, good morning.
Good
What do you
morning.
mean it's your last, Maggie? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, done. No, I have to, you have to move on and let the next generation of wise people
Have you
come
run out
forward.
of wisdom?
No.
She's run out of biros.
No, I'm going to write fiction.
Are you?
So much easier. Come on.
Yeah.
So much work.
What are we thinking?
Well, I would
About
like
a boy
to write,
wizard?
No. I'd like to run the story, run some fictionalised version of a country celebrant, because the stories I have from funerals and weddings with tiger snakes and bushfires would be so fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Sounds like a movie on the march as well.
Celebrant.
Yeah, we've done that. A crime-fighting country celebrant?
No, not that one. But then I also have one I want to write, because I taught in Mirrabooka Senior High School, which was one of the toughest schools in the state, for 12 months when I was about 24. And oh my God, compared to a country high school, the stories that nobody would believe, and they deserve to see the light, because it wasn't the students that were the problem, really. It was the world around them.
Hey, Maggie, I had an idea about a movie plot the other day.
Yeah.
We were speaking with Andrew Gaze.
Yes,
and
we were.
He was because Shaun was under the understanding that the American basketball team, all the big stars, were staying on a cruise ship. He said, no, they're actually staying in a different place, and they're catching the train each day, and the train's being shut down, and the only people on it are the American basketball team. And I said, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing if someone knew that was happening, and then they were to hijack the train and then ransom the American basketball team? Wow. How good would that be?
Yeah. No, you need to write it too.
Yeah.
Now.
But I'm a marriage celebrant. And I'm on there going to do a wedding, and then I uncover it. So it's weird that you're doing a marriage celebrant one too.
It's very good.
It's just weird.
I love it.
Hey, and Maggie, your book is fantastic because I was just thinking about it. So I've got a couple of teenagers left. Well, I've got 3 actually, but the 2 youngest ones. Yeah. Never give them any slack for being teenagers. And in fact, my wife's away, so I can say whatever I want at the moment. But
because it'll never get back to us.
Okay, go ahead, Shaun. Go.
Every day she's teeing off on one of the boys because he's not organised and or cleaning his room. And I know we've had this conversation before, but all they get up is, they make groaning noises, they eat, and that's all they need to do at this point in time. Do you need to hassle them out?
Oh, look, it's one of the pet hates that, particularly boys, so what's the problem if I've got a floor drope? And then there's a bit of a reason behind the reason that they've got all their clothes on the floor, is because when Mum packs it away into the cupboards, they don't know where anything is. So when it's on the floor, they find it easier. So I love the pragmatism of that. So for me, if I was going to stress every time out of, I had 3 boys in, adolescent years at the same time, I would have I would have destroyed the relationship. I would have turned the house into a nag fest. So I just shut their door so I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And they've all turned up to be really decent humans. So I guess we've got to look at, I want you to save all your energy for the big stuff, which is what's in the book. And I want you to keep thinking, do they feel safe here? Do they feel loved? Because what we know is the number one thing that your teen or anyone else's teen needs to get through this journey, which is tumultuous and bumpy for all the right reasons, is do they have one safe person who could be a safe base when they muck up?
Yeah.
Have they got someone who's going to love them no matter what they do, crash your car, get caught with the bong, whatever? Have they got one person? So the untethered teens don't have anyone. And that's why I write about this is for parents, but it's also for those lighthouse figures who, sometimes an aunt, uncle, grandparent, sometimes a good teacher who just takes a kid aside, says, mate, you're just wasting your time here and you've got a brain. I want you to give it a go, right? That little gem, I call it a seed of potential.
Right.
If it's not sown, it can't germinate. And if all they're getting is, this is what you're doing wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, they are drowning with a negative self-critic that is telling them everything that is negative about them. They all do it. And that's the sad part of negative social media. It feeds the negativity, so they all hate themselves. What they need is, TLC and someone who can say, oh, it's awful, but it doesn't last forever.
It's the Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
We're joined by the magical Maggie Dent, who just solves all of your problems for a short time only, though, because she's giving up this line of work to become a fiction writer. Maggie Dent, her last book, Help Me, Help My Teen, supporting our teens through tough times.
I'll always come and talk to you guys.
Yep.
Maggie, you're
the
amazing.
next book is going to be 50 Shades of Something.
Okay, Maggie, we've got Teresa. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Okay,
Good,
right,
Teresa.
Teresa. Now, you've got a 15-year-old son?
I do. And I heard Sean's comment this morning about the whole teenage and alcohol. So the situation is, obviously, I purposely went through school bag, found a hip flask in his school bag. He does go to a private school. He, wants to exceed, and he does quite well at school. So obviously, sorry, Maggie, what I didn't do is I lost my shit, as you do.
No, it's normal.
And obviously, I think he, obviously tried to defend himself and say, I'm going through his stuff. And then, so I did calm down after a couple of days and we had a bit of a chat last night. And I don't know whether I should have said this, but I did actually say how disappointed I was and how absolutely ashamed I was, only because, we do send him to a private school and he's always done so well. And I tried to make him understand that what he's done, and luckily enough I found it, not the school, is that it's an expulsion. So his career would have just been, his high school years would have been worse. He, wants to go to university. But the hard thing I'm grappling with is clearly I've taken everything away from him. His phone, his social media, his school laptop, I've told him is literally only for school only now. And look, he has been very obliging. Yep. But the guilt I've got now is I've taken everything from him. What do I give back? Like, I feel terrible in literally taking everything from him. And he did actually say last night that he's spoken to his head of year and he's actually going to go and see a counsellor. So now I don't even know what else is going on. Yeah. And I don't know what to do. I'm at a loss.
I'm coming.
There's a lot, Maggie.
All right.
There's a lot.
So very first thing is forgive yourself for losing your schmick, because as I just explained, it is what we biologically wired to do. My only concern is that you did the disappointment shame one on him, and that's like a massive burden that I want you to at some point come back and take off his back, because parental disappointment is a massive, it comes up in all the research and all the survey that I did is the hardest thing is when I let my parents down. And I've got to not only carry my own disappointment with myself, I have to carry my parents' disappointment. And the very fact he knows how much you're paying for that private school makes it even bigger. So I want you to at some point have another conversation with him, provided, feed him first, make him feel safe and go, I needed to, like I was disappointed, but I forgot you would have been disappointed in yourself. So it's okay. I get it. And also I understand this is what teens do. I want you to come alongside and say, now I understand. that you make poor choices, you are risk-taking, your impulse control's not good, and you're actually not deliberately being a bad human. I want you to change that conversation a little bit. And then going to whatever you're doing, you've taken him off everything. So that is actually putting him into a highly stressful state, because connection to friends is one of their protective factors. So I want you to work out how we can get back into some sort of, because you can't just punish and hope that changes his behaviour. I want you to come in and go, I realise punishment doesn't teach anything. I think you've learned a really big lesson from this experience. You are going to see someone, which is fantastic. How about we work out what would you like to be reconnected with your friends? How do you reconnect to them? So serious friendship alliances are a really important part of our teen survival through this really big window. So, that's just my suggestions. And then I want you to write him a love note and, love it, put it in his lunchbox, write it on his pillow, reassure him you love him exactly the same as before all this happened.
Did say to him, do you want a big hug?
Yeah. Even bigger than that. You've got to put it in words because they're not always good.
Okay.
Yeah, hug the hell out of him. Restore him that this is just a little bump and it's a bumpy ride, but we still love you exactly the same amount, and I know you're going to learn from this mistake. And I always believe in not only second chances but third too if you have to.
Yeah.
Well done, Mum.
I know. Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Good luck.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.